Now remember that we fixed that issue of that, the thing with Google OAuth, it wasn't, the pop-up window wasn't appearing. That issue is fixed. But the next step is to actually add all of this stuff in. So what we're gonna have to do is we have to import some things. First, we need use dispatch. This hook we need from React Redux, and we also need the sign in success that we created from the Redux user and user slice. Okay, so these things we need, and I'm going to tell you the reason for this. Let's go here, and in here now, essentially what we're going to do is, since the pop-up window appeared, what I want to do is I want to actually call an API, and that's going to be something like response is going to be equal to await and fetch. And yeah, now you're understanding what was the need for the async. Like, I'm using two different things over here. And now we're going to have an API, which is going to be, say, API/auth/Google. Right now it doesn't exist, but we'll create it. And inside of this API, I mean, let's just cross this string out for no reason. And inside of this, you could add, this stuff, which is all of that. Okay, so what's happening here is that we have a method, which is post. We have headers, which is content application/JSON. We have body, which is JSON.stringify. And, we have this result.user for now. And I want to actually fix this. And I want to see if this actually works. The thing is that once this, response comes, you could convert this response to, JSON, and then you could also dispatch using that dispatch hook that we created. So to get that, we have to initialize those use dispatch over here. So in here, what we could do is const dispatch, use dispatch, and we could also have, for now, let's just have that. And what's going to happen is if we go down here, we could dispatch the sign in success. And we essentially put the data inside here as well. The data you are seeing from here, and this is going to give it into the React Redux toolkit so that it's always going to be stored within React Redux persist, and you'll have your data. Now, after all of this stuff is done, you can navigate basically to like the home page or something. So let's just add the navigation as well, and just to see like everything works well. So let's just have the import use navigate from React Router DOM, and then we have const navigate use navigate. Well, const navigate use, come on man, what's happening here? Const navigate use navigate, and in here we could just navigate to the home page. Perfect. So everything seems good, and we have a really nice foundation. The thing is, we don't even have this API existing, so we're gonna have to create this right away. So this is the front end part, and this front end part is almost complete. Everything seems to be done, and all the thing that it's required is the back end part here. So we'll have to go to the routes here. Let's go to the back end. So API, and inside, remember the routes, auth route.js, you had these two routes, right? You'll create another route, which is another post route, and this is gonna go to /auth.google, all right? And it should say, so essentially, you're gonna go to the routes, and it will have Google, and then the function name for the controller would be Google. Right now this doesn't even exist, and it's going to give us complaints. So let's go and create the function for this inside the auth controller. So let's just add this somewhere over here, right over here. So over here we could just say, right after sign in, we could have another function, call out a controller, and export const, and not sign out, but we need Google, and this is for the Google login. So what we're gonna do is essentially we're gonna have is equal to async request response and next, and that's the middleware. Remember the next middleware. And over here we have to actually import this in the route. So you could just say import. Okay, you could actually import it from here. So you can see auth sign up, and we just have Google there. So now Google is there. Perfect. And let's have the Google, one created. So it's pretty simple. All we got to do is we have to put try catch blocks again. And inside of this try and catch, we could have some things that are really required. The first thing that's required here is you have to, you have to create the account. This is very important. So suppose we're in that, sign in page and the person doesn't have an account, but he clicks on Google, you'll have to try to create an account in the database, right? So what we do is we'll say await, and let me show you one thing for a second. So right now this is gonna give us issues, so it's best to just have it like that. And if I go to the OAuth.jsx, I have this, obviously this doesn't exist, so it's better to just have it nothing. And have all of this commented out. So let's just see what happens here. So if I go to the app and open up the inspect and the console. So right now, ignore those issues, just clear that and sign in with Google. So let's suppose if I try to sign in with Google, I click on this account, Google, and what happens is that it does this. Now, if you go to the network tab and you go to the one that was from Google, you could see that, yeah. So you could see a lot of things that are coming from here. You could see that, I have my Google ID, my email, email verified, full name, photo URL. I have so much information here, and I would like to have this information stored in my, React Redux so I could use it. Now this is a photo URL. This is actually a photo. If I could just get the URL, I could just copy this and just see my picture somewhere on Windows. So look, this is a picture. Okay, so all we got to do is we got to get all this stuff, and it's not pretty hard. It's really easy. If you look at this, these are the users, and inside of this list we have, all this information that we want to use, like the local, like the email, the display name, and the photo URL. We need these three things. Okay, so let's go back here, which is here, and let's just bring this all stuff back. Let's see. I mean, I think it shouldn't complain because, but anyways, let me just complete that up. Let's go here and let's first of all try to create that user. So const user, and we'll say user.find1. Okay, the thing is we're trying to sign in with Google, and this is the case where actually the user exists and their email exists in the database. So again, we're gonna have request.body.email. Now you go back to the OAuth. Remember that it provides you some things. Let me go back to OAuth.jsx. You could see that if we look at the body, which is, remember the things that were provided, JSON.string, we get the result and .user. This is, if you just console.log this, okay. If you just console.log that, it's not really pretty practical. So console.log and just have the result. Okay, well, let's just have it in that and then console.log it. So console.log data. If you look into this result, let's just comment these things out, and let's go back here, refresh this page, sign in with Google. Okay, so you see that what happens is that if you look into the console screen, I believe it's in the backend. Okay, nothing happened. So the reason why it's not happening is, there's going to be some issues related to that. But I'm actually saying, let me just go back here. I didn't want this all. Okay, let's just go back. Okay, so the thing is, if you look into that result.user, like we looked at it normally before, what, they provided, Google people. So let's go in again. And if you look at this and you look at the Google, yeah, the thing that's provided by Google, this thing. And you could see over here that, you know, there's an API key, there's this display name, email, and then there's a photo URL. All of this stuff is coming from, you know, Google. And if you look at this properly, this is the users, all right? Users key, and then the values all exist in here, inside. So that's what I'm saying. We have to go inside there and try to grab that out. So let's go into this body.stringify, and let's fix this up here. And we want the things that we need. First, we need the name, and we say result.user.displayName. If you look up, you look back, it should have that kind of response here. Yeah. So you know that display name, if you go, and the next thing we need is email.result.email, and the last one is photo. We could get from result.user.photo URL, and that's all we need for now. And you know that's going to convert it, so it's actually a response from the server, and that could be converted to JSON, which you could see and dispatch, and you could save it and then, you know, navigate back. So now let's go back here in the auth and, you know, fix this up. So in the authentication, which is auth.controller.js, we say that if suppose that you got the email from the request.body.email, now you're also referring to the same email, this email I'm talking about. If that email, all right, if that exists, if that user exists, then what you want to do is, it's better to have a token created, so const token, and you make it jwt dot sign. We're gonna have to you know, create a JSON web token, because, you know, just like how we did before, we get the ID from the user dot underscore ID. Where is this user coming from? It's coming from the database, so you know this field is existing. And then process.env.jwt secret, just like, you know, that secret key we have. Go back here. What is this, man? Why is this extra stuff added? Okay, I just have all of that. Okay, now after that we have password. We're gonna have to you know, remove it from there. So we have the password, and we say spread operator and rest. So from the user doc, don't include the password. And also response.cookie, you make a cookie access token, and you put the token, and you say that the setting is true, so that no third party access uses it. Status is 200, and just send the rest response. Okay, so this is the success way. If you know, the person is created and all things are working in the best way. But if it's not, then we'll have to, you know, create a new user. Now the thing is, look, if you look at the model of the user, you can see that the username, email, and the password are required. Now the thing is, what if the user in Google sign-in doesn't exist, but you click on sign-in and it has to create it, but it doesn't give you a password? How are you going to do it? You create a randomly generated password. So that's what we have to achieve here in the controller, which is in the controller. Over here, what we're going to do is the other case. Now this was sign-in and it existed, so it already existed, and it doesn't touch the password or do anything to it. But if it is a new user and it has to create an account, it's recommended. Sorry about this. My mic is keep dropping. Okay, so the thing is, if the user actually exists, then you know, it's okay. You don't have to make a password, and you know, just log it in. And if log the person in. But if the user, suppose, is a new user and you want to sign in using Google, it will have to create a generated password, and which the person could update it later on if he ever needs, if he, you know, the user ever needs. So let's go and go here and const, we'll say generated password, and we'll create a math.random, and we have .toString 36. This means from 0 to 9 numbers and A to Z alphabets, and we have .slice -8. This means the first 8 characters. So this means, look, suppose it's like this stuff, and it means the first 8 from after the decimal. So this means this will be a random generated password. Right now 8 characters. How about 16? It's just going to make it more secure. So you could just do again another round of math.random function .toString 36, and then slice again 8 -8, and that will just make it into a 16 character password, which is really secure. But of course you don't want it just like that. You want it to hash it first, right? You don't want it being shown openly on the database. So the best way to do is go hash it first. So hash password, and actually hashed password. So hashed password will actually be using bcrypt again, bcrypt.js hash sync, and we're going to generated password, and we're going to put salt round of 10. So it's going to be a completely random hashed password that you can't understand. So once it's done, you could create the user finally. So we could say const. So we could say const user, new user, and the username for the user would be request.body.name, and the email would be request.body.email, and the password would be request.body.password, which is perfect. But the thing that we have to think here is we are actually receiving more things from it. So if you look at this, we're actually receiving a photo as well. But in the user model, do we have a space to have the photo? No, we don't. We need a photo thing in here as well. So we'll have a photo field in the model. So if we go to the user model, and what we'll do is we'll just create another model, which will be called avatar for the photo, and the type would be string, and the default you could just put any. I don't know what it gave, but let's see what happened. This is not even an image. Okay, so let's just go and say profile image. So just search on Google. I'll get this kind of image. So what you could do is use this copy image address. All right, just copy that and just paste it in here. So you could just paste that image address within it like this. Okay, so now this is just like a default image if the person doesn't have an image on Google, right? So that's just going to be saved. Other than that, you know, everything seems good. Maybe I added this random thing for no reason. Okay, so that looks promising. And I mean, the next step we have to do after this image, is allowed, you can now, cater that as well. So go back to the auth.controller, and you could say after the password, which is hashed, you could also have comma, and you could say avatar, and for that you would have request.body.image URL. I guess this is the essentially it's not image URL. If you go back to the controller, it's essentially no. If you go back to the OAuth, you'll see it's actually called photo, right? Photo URL was from there, but now we renamed it photo. So we have to change it to photo, like this. Okay, so let's just use one format document just to make it look nicer. Okay, looks good. And one other thing that is a concern is that, look, Google saves account usernames, names like this. So it's like coding cleverly. I don't want it like this. I want it unique. So I want the spaces, there should be no spaces. I want all of it to be in lowercase. And of course, people would have a name like this as well. Just add some random numbers or random characters after it. So it's a unique username, right? So we need something like that. So for that, it's super simple. Go here in the new user, and then for the username, you have the request.body.name. But what you do is you split all of the letters, right, into a list. So you say split, okay, and then after the split, for each space, you try to join them. You join them using the space, no spaces, and then you two lowercase them so that they're lowercased. Come on. And then after that, we could add in some random math dot random string math dot random, and we have two string, and we have that 36 instead of these are the alphabets and numbers, but you could just have the characters to 4, which is amazing. Now after all of this is done, you could go to the email and the hashed password and the body, which is all great and fantastic. But now, speaking about this user is created, but you have to handle it somewhere, right? So we'll say is await, and we'll say new user dot save, try to save in the database. We'll create a token again, just like how we did in the first try. Remember, like if the user email was there, we just created a token and try to save it. And this is how we're going to be doing the same thing. So we're just going to create another token, jwt.assign, and then you're going to get the users dot underscore ID. This mic is disturbing me a lot throughout this entire video. So what you're going to do is you're going to have const token and jwt.sign, and you know, you're going to sign it with the jwt token, which is ID. Now, where are you getting this underscore ID? This is actually from the database. So you get the user was saved, and then after that you could get the ID, and you could also get the JWT secret. You know what the JWT secret is if you're watching my videos. It's a small phrase, and then once you get the combination of both of those things, you create a token, and that's a unique token. What happens is that once you have that token created, you could now separate the password so that the password is not shown on to the user end. So password is the rest, you know, exists. The password is there, but the user dot underscore doc, and you saw this explanation on what this dot underscore doc is. You know, it has all of the information. And after that, you could just simply have the response dot cookie, and then access token, HTTP true, status, and rest. Perfection. Okay, so now all of that is done. We could now say that is basically how, you know, the thing should work. And if an error happens somehow, we'll just use our middleware to handle it. So we'll just say next error. That's all we have to do. Okay, so now that is perfectly done. We have to now see if this, you know, we have to see if this controller does the job for us. So format document again. Okay, and you know, I believe everything seems to work appropriately. So I created the user model, and we have to test it and see if this is actually successful signed, because if it's signed successful, it will navigate to the home page. And so let's look at it. So let's go back here, and for now, you could see that there's nothing. Let me just clear everything out. Okay, and let's go to the console. There's nothing here. Okay, so let's go back and try to sign in. Okay, it says over here expected end of JSON input. Server error, sign in. Okay, Google Auth and then sign in. Oh, okay. I think I clicked on something else. Let's go back and continue with Google. So we go and continue with Google. We'll have to handle, okay. It says over here, 500 internal could not sign in with Google syntax, unexpected end of JSON input. End of JSON input. Let's look at that. Okay, so our whole thing crashed. Let's go and turn on this. Let's go and turn on this. And let's just analyze what happened. First, let's also turn off this as well. Okay, so npm run dev, this is the front end. Npm run dev, this is the back end. backend is crashing. So what's happening here? So let's view it. Let's cross this one out. We don't need this anymore, so we could just delete that. And it says over here that whenever I'm trying to start it, it has this issue that says that this auth.controller.js reference coding cleverly and ID. Okay. I think I forgot to remove that controller code that I did over here. Wow. Okay, so now that is done. Should have fixed that. Everything should be working. Okay, now let's go back here and let's refresh this. Continue with Google. We're gonna try to log in. Okay, logged in. It went directly to the home, navigated, which means that it should be saved. Let's go to the network tab and see what happened. So network tab, and you can see that we have Google. Okay, fetch 500. Cannot destructure property password of user as it is undefined. Okay, where is this coming from? Response. Okay, it failed something. Okay, we had the name, we had the photo. Okay, the name and what? Destructure property password. User._doc. Okay, I think this is happening in the controller. I know that the destruction was happening there. So password from the user._doc. I think that's how it was implemented before as well, which is crazy. It's not working. But anyways, let's see if the thing exists in the local storage or anything. Okay, so we see that here we have, oh yeah, the destructuring issue, and I don't know what that random thing is. So this is again, we could actually just remove this, and just let's restart it again. Let me look into MongoDB and see if that actually exists or not. Of course, my session expired and I'm gonna have to log in again. So continue with Google. So now that I have logged into Google, you could go to the databases. And over here, you can see the browse collections. And over here, it should have coding cleverly. If not, then new user bit high. So it actually had some issue. So there was an issue that was, when I was trying to log in with Google, it was throwing out 500 server error, and now it's fixed. The silly mistake that happened is now, everything is being created and the user is being created. If you go to the, if you go to the network, you could see that Google basically gets the username and then the username to mix it together. First, makes a lowercase and then puts the extra things, gets the email, gets the avatar photo, and you actually have your payload, and all of that stuff is working perfectly. So the actual problem that I did, and I forgot to add, is just a really rookie mistake. I forgot to add a wait here. So whenever you're basically checking in your database, you make sure you're calling await before, because this is going to take some time. It's going to see if that email exists inside of the database or not. If it does, then it just creates a token and a password, and then it logs you in. But if not, it creates a generated password, and then it essentially does the token thing and everything. And then, you basically create that database thing. You essentially create all of this stuff, and then you create your account, and then you essentially log in again. So that's the thing, and it would work now perfectly. This button is now applicable for both of the screens. If you go to the sign up page, you could still create an account. You could still do the same thing. If you go to this part, so let's suppose sign in, we're there, sign up. Let's go to sign up, inspect. And now I'm actually going to be existing because my in-memory is in from, the thing is still there. Now you can see that the persist root, it's also in there. This is crazy. Let me just delete this. And now I'll show you that actually my information is saved in the database as well. And the user is existing. So there's also one other account that I created, and that is also going to be existing here. But the thing is, let's try to log in. I mean, sign up, we'll just say continue with Google. So let's see, just click on continue with Google. It does that same kind of manipulation. And what happens is that it adds this persist root. Remember that root ID root? Now you could see all of this information coding cleverly, and everything is being there. That means it's also in Redux. And if you look at Redux, you could see that the state of the user is coding cleverly, and the username it created, it's the email, it's the avatar. So we could use all of this information now. If you refresh this, it's not going to go anywhere. It's still in there. It rehydrates, and you could actually use it in your navbar, the picture. You could add it in your profile page. So actually, we're going to create a profile page for all our users, and they're going to have their own name, your own picture, and all their information. And it's going to be private so that other people can't access it. Only the authorized user could access it. So stay tuned for the next video.